What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's start with some baseball scores. Cleveland beats Detroit 2-0. Colorado beats Pittsburgh 10-1. Philly beats Toronto 8-4. Atlanta beats Boston 9-3. Dodgers beat Milwaukee 6-2. St. Louis beats the Cubs 6-4. Seattle beats Texas 5-0. We had the Cincinnati Reds beat the Mets 7-6. Mets again couldn't get anything out of their starting pitching. Dave Peterson went just 3 in the third, gave up 4 runs. He looked horrible. Mets were down 7-1. They made a comeback, but fell a little short 7-6. They continue to struggle. Seattle beats Texas 5-0. San Francisco over Washington 4-1. Baltimore over Tampa 4-2. Yankees beat Oakland 10-5. White Sox over Kansas City 4-2. San Diego beats Minnesota 6-1. Houston over the Angels 3-1, and Miami beats Arizona 6-2. Max Fried is out again. He's on the IL. He was out earlier with a hamstring injury in April. Now he has a strained form in his left arm, which is a throwing arm. So he's on the IL. He's gonna be shut down probably for a few weeks. The Braves lose him. Let's talk about some playoffs. Start with hockey. Carolina beats the New Jersey Devils 6-1 in Game 4. Martin Andrews had 2 goals, a goal and 2 assists for Jordan Martinhook, and a goal and an assist for Brett Burns. The 3 games that Carolina has won, actually, every game has pretty much been a blowout. Carolina won the first. Game 1 was 5-1 Carolina. Game 2 was 6-1 Carolina. Game 3, I think, was... Game 3 was 8-4 New Jersey. Game 4 was 6-1 Carolina. So it's been a blowout every single game. This has not really been that fun of a series to watch. There's not been any close games. Carolina only 3-1. They have to close it out in Game 5. See if they can get back to the conference finals. I'm not sure the last time I did that. It's probably been a while. I think they were a few years ago, but I don't think they've had trouble getting over the hump because of the lack of goals for them, but have not had trouble scoring goals in this series. Dallas beats the Seattle Kraken 6-3. 2 goals and an assist for Max Domi. Thomas Harley was a first-round pick in 2019, 18th overall by Dallas. Only played 6 games this year. He's a young defenseman. He had a goal and an assist, 2 goals for Jaden Schwartz and a loss for Seattle. So Dallas evens up that series at 2 games apiece. That's been a really fun series. Got Seattle, obviously, in their second year as a team, first year in the playoffs. They had the big upset over Colorado in the first round. And then Dallas won their first round series as well. That's the series I thought would go 7. It looks like it might. It's 2-2 right now. And before we move on to NBA, the finalists for the Masterson Trophy have been announced. It's a perseverance award in the NHL. It's Clayton Keller for the Arizona Coyotes, Chris Letang for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Alex Stalock for the Minnesota Wild. I think he's in Minnesota as their backup goalie. Those are the finalists for that award. On to the NBA playoffs. Philadelphia 76ers beat the Boston Celtics 115-103 in Game 5. They go up 3-2. Joel Embiid, 33 points, 7 rebounds. He also had 4 blocks. Jason Tatum, 36 points and 10 rebounds. Philly's playing really well. Shout out to Joel Embiid. I've never been a huge fan of Embiid, but I did think Nikola Jokic was the MVP, but I'm not really mad at Embiid winning it. He had a phenomenal year. He's a phenomenal player. The guy is playing hurt, and he had 33 and 7, plus he had 4 blocks. He was great defensively last night. JJ Redick was talking on First Take today. I think Boston was like 4 of 15 from 3 or something, or the paint or something, when Embiid was a primary defender, when they're like 8 of 26 when he was the primary defender overall. He was great defensively. He's always been good defensively, Embiid. He's a phenomenal player. And Tatum, the last 2 games, he hasn't been great. Game 4, he had actually in Game 3, he only had 7 points. Boston won the game, but he only had 7 points. He had just 2 points and like 1 of 7 shooting or something. In the first half of Game 4 was better in the second half. Ended up with 24 and added 18 rebounds. But overall, still wasn't great. And then Game 5 last night, again, he was like, 1 of 7, 1 of 8 from the field in the first half. Again, only had 2 points in the first half, but obviously was much better in the second half. Put up 34 points in the second half. And remember, Tatum was a guy who, in the playoffs last year, through the first 3 rounds, was very good. but really struggled in the finals last year. He had one of the worst shooting performances for a superstar ever in the finals last year when they lost in 6 games to Golden State. In the first round against Atlanta, he was fine. The first 2 games he played well, but then you have game 3, he really struggled. Game 4, he really wasn't great. He was horrible in the first half. Was a little better in the second half, but still had 24 points in the game and went to overtime. He had outside of the 18 rebounds, really wasn't that great. And was, again, much better in the second half. He did have 34 second half points, but again, he had an awful start. He last 3 games has not really shot the ball all that well. And he really needs to be better because these Sixers are up 3-2. And, both the team that prides themselves on their depth. Outside Tatum, who's obviously one of the league's best players, Jaylen Brown's another great player, all-star player. You have, Al Horford, that same rotation with Rob Williams. You got Derek White. You got, Derek White's a guy who's a great defender, can shoot the 3. Marcus Smart's a guy who, yes, he flops a lot, but he is a great defender. He's inconsistent from 3. When he's on, he's a dangerous player. You have Malcolm Brogdon with 6th man of the year. He's a great defender. He can score. That team is incredibly deep. Also, when Rob Williams is healthy, he's a great rim protector, a great defender. He can score the ball inside. This team is built to win a championship. And now they're in danger of losing in the second round to a Sixers team. Yes, they have the MVP of the league here in Joel Embiid, who's giving you 30 plus and 7-10 plus rebound, and he's blocking shots, playing hurt. Harden was decent. They could give him like 19 points. He was solid. If Embiid can be Embiid and Harden, even if Harden's, obviously he's not going to give you 40 every game, but if he can at least not do what he did in games 2 and 3, where he was giving you, 12 or 16 on, 2 of 15 shooting, he can give you, if he can do what he did in the regular season, he was a guy who's giving you 20 points and 10, 11 assists. If he can do that, and then Embiid's giving you 30 and 10 and is blocking shots, and Tyrese Maxey does his thing, and Georges Niang does his thing, all those other role guys they got, Anthony Melton does his thing, the Sixers have a shot to possibly win a championship because they're going to play probably Miami and have the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. They probably win that series. In the finals, it's going to be either Denver, Phoenix, Lakers, and maybe Golden State can have a semi-miracle. I don't know if they play Denver or Phoenix. It might be a tough series, but it's winnable. If they play the Lakers, outside of the experience of LeBron James, AD's obviously we've seen him be inconsistent. The rest of that team's obviously, depth-wise, they're better since the trade deadline. Bringing in D'Lo and Beasley and Hunter Moore and all the guys they brought in, but they could be in the good spot to possibly win a championship. And that'll be very interesting if Boston loses in the second round, and that would be a shocker. Denver beats Phoenix 118-102, a triple-double for Nikola Jokic, 29 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists, 26, 11, and 7 from Kevin Durant. And Devin Booker struggled last night. He wasn't at his best. Even Durant was a little better in the second half, but really struggled in the first half. It's a game that Denver jumped out early. They went out, I think, 13 going into the first quarter. Phoenix made it close heading into the half, but a big third quarter for Denver helped them pull away. So Denver won 119-102. They take game 5. Denver leads 3-2 now. The home teams won every single game in that series. And now the series will go back to Phoenix for game 6. And Denver's trying to close them out. Phoenix trying to force a game 7. It's been an incredible series. A lot of stars. Obviously, you got the star duo of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in Phoenix, who is probably the best star duo in the league right now, against Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, which is who have reaffirmed themselves as a star duo, with Jamal Murray staying healthy, and he has been balling out, giving you 25, 30 plus at pretty much every game in this postseason. And also Nikola Jokic showing why he was the second best. Probably he was obviously the second MVP voting and one of the best players in the NBA. There was an issue with Bob Huggins about a couple days ago. He was on a radio show, I think a Cincinnati radio show before he coached West Virginia, where he's been since 2007. He was put in the Hall of Fame last year. I think he's top 5 all time in wins. There's like for history for college basketball coaches. He was at Cincinnati from 1989 to 2005. So for a long time, he also coached at Cincinnati. Then he did a year at K State before he went to West Virginia. They were talking about the rivalry between Cincinnati and Xavier, which is a big rivalry. Talking about the fans of Xavier. Of course, he got to know well, coaching at their arch rival Cincinnati for over 15 years. And I guess for Pride Night one night, they had like rubber a body part that I'm not gonna say. Can't really say live. If you don't know, look it up, read the headline. Everyone's probably already heard about this. You all saw, you all saw what he said in the interview. I guess they threw it on the court and then they asked him about it. He's like, "Oh, if you can get away with that, you can get away with anything." And then he used an anti-gay slur to describe the fans, and he got a lot of flack for it. He issued an apology online, and West Virginia is not going to fire him, but they are going to suspend him. He's going to lose $1 million off his salary, and he has to undergo some sensitivity training. There are some people who are saying, this is absolutely horrible. There's some people saying it wasn't that bad. He was on a Cincinnati radio show. He was just voicing his opinion. He apologized. Let's move on. My take on it is, we're in a very soft and sensitive world now. It is what it is. I didn't love what he said. I don't think calling out, he's calling out Xavier fans. There's a good chance he was calling out some, students of Xavier. I don't think that's right. That being said, I didn't think what he did was absolutely horrible to the point where he should lose his job. And he did apologize. His apology sounded sincere. When someone says something like that, a lot of times apologies are, your agent and your PR people say, you need to do this right now or your career is going to be over. I don't know if something who was like, all right, fine, I'll apologize so I can keep my job, or who was like, crap, I shouldn't have said that. Let me apologize. I'm not sure what it was. We'll never know. That being said, you cannot say that in sports media. There are certain things you can't say, and that's obviously one of them. You cannot say that when you're the head coach of a very good college basketball team. I believe West Virginia plays in the Big 12. They're in the best conference in college basketball. You've been the head coach there for 15 plus years. You're in the Hall of Fame, one of the all-time great college basketball coaches. You cannot go on a public radio show and say that. Whether you agree with it or not, that's something that cannot happen. So he is facing what he's facing. The all defense teams and the all rookie teams, first and second teams, were reviewed over the last couple of days. Talk about the all rookie team first. The first team was Paulo Banchero, Walker Kessler, Jalen Williams, Keegan Murray, and Benedict Mathurin. The second team was Jalen Duren, Terry Easton, Jay Ivey, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jeremy Sochin. I thought that was a pretty good list. Obviously Paulo Banchero won Rookie of the Year this year. And Keegan Murray was pretty good. Mathurin was good. Walker Kessler was an underrated guy. He had a nice year for Utah Jazz. And Jalen Williams, he had a great year, especially in the second half for OKC. I know OKC has another guy named Jalen Williams whose spelling is different. There's confusion to whether they named the wrong Jalen Williams, but we all know which one they meant at least. So I hope he didn't get robbed like that. That would be horrible. Second team, Duren was pretty good. A young center, first round up from Detroit this year. So Easton was pretty good in Houston. Jabari Smith had a pretty good rookie year. He came along as the year went on. Jaden Ivey was very good, and Sochin's got some really weird hairstyle. That reminds me of Dennis Rodman. Wasn't super impressed with him, but he was okay. He's not doesn't have the greatest team around him either at San Antonio. Those are the all rookie teams. For the all defensive teams, the first team was Alex Caruso, Drew Holiday, Jaren Jackson Jr., Brooke Lopez, and Evan Mobley. The second team was Derek White, Dylan Brooks, OG Anunoby, Draymond Green, and Bam Adebayo. The first team, Caruso is a very underrated defender. I didn't have a problem with that. Drew Holiday, definitely. I'll say Jaren Jackson, he was defensive player of the year. Evan Mobley, absolutely. And then Brooke Lopez. And then on the second team, Dirk White definitely is a great defender. Dylan Brooks, I don't like. I think he's very arrogant. I don't like his actions this year, but he is a great defender. I'll give him that. He's horrendous offensively. He's all he is. He's just a defender who talks like he's just a superstar, but he is a very good defender. You know, Dan Adebayo. I don't agree with him saying he should have been defensive player of the year not only this year but last year, saying he guards 1 through 5. But he is a great defender. He didn't have his best season this year, and overall hasn't been great in the postseason. But being second team all defense, I didn't mind. OG Anunoby, you could honestly make a argument that he should have been on the first team, but you look at the front court on the first team, you got to have Jaren Jackson on there. He just won defensive player of the year. You got to have Evan Mobley on there, and I think Brook Lopez you should have on there as well. He did lead the league in steals, but as long as he was on one of the two teams, that's fine. Draymond, he's still a good defender. I don't know if he's an all defensive team guy. One guy who I thought could have gotten some more love for defensive player of the year was Jaden McDaniels in Minnesota. I would have probably had him on the second team over Draymond. That may have been more of a, obviously Draymond's got the name. He's very outspoken. He's got his podcast. Obviously, he's won 4 championships. He makes that very clear every time he talks. Jaden McDaniels, who obviously is a youngster who's never, I'm not sure if he's ever even won a single playoff game in Minnesota. But that's what the league decided to do. And as for the head coaching search in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks, of course, fired Budenholzer. Despite having the best record in the league, they lost in the first round in 5 games to Miami Heat, surprisingly. They have they have requested to interview Golden State Warriors assistant head coach Kenny Atkinson. Kenny Atkinson, I think, is a great choice. He was a head coach of Brooklyn. I thought did a very good job. I thought he kind of got screwed over there, and they brought in Durant and Kyrie, and they couldn't stay on the court. He didn't get along. He's done a good job as an assistant in Golden State. He actually agreed to be the head coach in Charlotte last year, but then last second pulled back and decided to stay with Golden State. They're also looking at Charles Lee, their top assistant. And then James Borrego, former coach for the Charlotte Hornets, who was fired last year after being there for 4 years. They didn't win a single playoff series, so that's what the Bucks are looking at right now. On to football, we got some schedule leaks on Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving. Will be Jets Dolphins. That game will be at 3:00 Eastern. On New Year's Eve, you will have Bengals Chiefs at 4:25 on CBS, the rematch of the AFC Championship the last 2 years. Bengals won the AFC title game 2 years ago. Last year, Chiefs won. Of course, they went on to win the Super Bowl, but Chiefs. And in the regular season, the Bengals have won the last 2 times, I believe. That should be an incredible game. Mahomes versus Burrow. On Christmas Day, it will be Giants-Eagles at 4:30 on Fox. It should be a very good game. Eagles were 3-0 against the Giants last year. Beat them both times in the regular season. Blew them out the first time. Was close in Week 18 when the game that the Giants first started starters. But then the Eagles blew them out in the second round of the playoffs as well. As for the international game, we have 3 games in London and 2 games in Germany. 3 games in London. First one is Falcons Jaguars in week 4. All these games will be all 5 international games will be at 9:30 in the morning because of a time difference, and they will be on NFL Network. Falcons Jags, Jaguars always play in London more than pretty much anybody. That first game is at Wembley Stadium. The next 2 London games are at somewhere else like Tottenham something stadium. Week 5, it'll be Jaguars Bill. That should be a good game. And then week 6, it will be Ravens Titans. As for Germany games, week 9 will be Dolphins Chiefs. If Tua's healthy, that should be a great game. And then week 10 will be Colts Patriots. Remember the Germany crowd last year? They were incredible. They were so loud you could barely even hear the announcers in the actual game. The entire crowd was singing Country Road. It was crazy. And shout out to Foster Morale. He has signed a 3-year deal worth $12 million with the New Orleans Saints. He got $8 million guaranteed, $3 million in incentives. He was a veteran tight end. Was, I think, most recently on the Raiders. He was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma recently, but he overcame that, and he's back in the NFL with the Saints. Kudos to him. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.